Hi, friend. It's Miss Kristina over at the Corona Public Library, bringing another preschool story time. Are you ready? Me too. Okay, it's time for a song. And in celebration of Christmas, we're going to sing Jingle Bells. You ready? Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to laugh and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Good job! Okay, it's time for a story. And today, we're going to do things a little differently. Instead of doing 2 short stories, we're going to read one little bit longer, but very special story. Now, why is it special? Why, it's Miss Kristina's favorite Christmas story, and it's her favorite Christmas movie. What could it be? Well, it's The Polar Express, of course, by Chris von Allsburg. Have you read it before? Have you seen the movie? I love it so much. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I would never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed down the stairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course. This is the Polar Express." I took his outreached hand and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nugget centers as white as snow. We drank hot chocolate as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests, where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster, we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "is the North Pole." The North Pole. It was a huge city, standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. "They are gathering at the center of the city," the conductor told us. "That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose one of you." "Look!" shouted one of the children. "Elves!" Outside, we saw hundreds of elves, all as our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole. We slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped, and the conductor let us out. Now look at all of those elves. That's a lot of elves to make a lot of toys. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were so excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I had ever heard before. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and pointing at me, he said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" Oh, sounds so exciting, doesn't it? I knew that I could have asked for any gift I could have imagined. But the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from the reindeer's harness. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and he called out, "The first gift of Christmas!" A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathroom pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us, then disappeared into the cold, dark polar sky. As soon as we went back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked me to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but there was only a hole that I felt. I had lost the silver bell from Santa's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving forward. We were on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor had said something, moving from the train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled out. He had cupped his hands and he had said, "Merry Christmas!" he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from the whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened up our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box, and it had my name. I had opened it immediately, and inside was the silver bell. There was a note. Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell, and it made the most beautiful sound me and my sister ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, well, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I had shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me as it does for all who truly believe. The end. Okay, it's time for a song. Now we're going to sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You ready? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, "Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?" Then all the reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee, "Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history." Good job! Okay, and now it's time for a Christmas craft. Today we're going to be making a paper plate wreath. Now some of the things we'll need is a paper plate, of course, some paint or markers or crayons or even colored pencils, and a pair of scissors. Couple options are glitter, beads, and anything else you would like as a decoration. The first thing we want to do is fold the paper plate in half and cut out our center. That's going to make the wreath shape. Now we can color our wreath. We can make it bright green or dark green or even a little bit of both. Once we have our wreath ready, we can decorate. We can color in berries or ribbon or even pine cones. And if we have cotton balls, we can even add snow. And you are now a proud creator of a holiday wreath. Well, that's it for today, but don't forget we have so many virtual story times just waiting for you on our YouTube channel, and we also have a bunch of playlists so you can watch as many story times as you like. You can also go to cityofcorona.com/library for additional e-media. We also still have our Click, Park, and Pick Up, which of course is my favorite. And if you liked today's video, be sure to hit that like button. See you next time!